he seemed to have this 100% certain knowledge that these people were not, in fact, from this planet. And one of the important things that they relayed to him was not necessarily the fact that they were on our side or they were against us, but they just couldn't understand why humanity is the way that it is, both in relation to this planet and in the way that they relate to each other. According to this author's encounters with this otherworldly race, one thing really stood out for him. The aliens did not seem to understand why our race not only kills each other on a regular basis, but also oppresses each other in ways that were simply unimaginable to them. We're the only race that allows its members to fall into poverty, to starve, to be homeless. We're the only race that would sell itself into slavery for the profits of others. And so I went to bed with this recurring thought, this recurring notion. What if each of us gradually became aware of the unequivocal fact that not only do aliens exist, and not hyperdimensional entities, of which I am quite familiar, but entities who are here, who do walk among us every day, on the street, on the streetcar, on the bus, sitting on the bench. What if we knew unequivocally that they do in fact exist? And they do wonder, why are we doing this to each other? Why are we enslaving each other for the purposes of acquiring limitless wealth? And remember the term wealth can mean many different things. In fact, where would we be without the greed for new knowledge? Where would our civilization be if we weren't greedy to understand the mechanisms and workings of our environment from this observation point? And again, it's very important to make that distinction. Discerning fact from fiction, discerning the very origin of that portion of experience, that crossing of the boundary when you are not anymore being the experiencer of your observation, but the experience itself. It's very important to make that distinction. Think of the polar opposites. Think of the pincushion. Think of total entanglement. Think of total ego. Think of that sliding scale on that spectrum. think about where you stand and where the origin of your observation point is on that scale. Obviously, the closer and closer that you are removed from that 100% infinite entanglement, the closer and closer you become to the macro level of understanding and awareness. The ego, the sheer exhilaration and thoughts of the flesh, the experience of the flesh. This is what Jesus talked about. So I kept having this recurring thought in my head. Wouldn't we all start to act a whole hell of a lot differently if we knew unequivocally that aliens do exist and that they walk among us and that not necessarily all of them are out to get us, like the reptilians, Jurassic Park? That's another discussion altogether, which potentially you've clued into. What if we did know unequivocally that they did exist, did walk among us, and did ask themselves, why do we keep doing this to ourselves? A perpetual state of affairs where we have the tops of the pyramids, the kings and the queens, the pharaohs, the classes. And you can ask yourself all day and all night whether everything tends to slide into a state of maximum probability. You're always going to have the homeless, you're always going to have people that want to suckle